Good morning, fifth grade. This is Miss J here. We're going to begin math class. Now, you should have completed the entire packet and have gone over and checked your work. Just a couple reminders. We always make sure that we're showing our work, and we're always making sure to do our best, neatest, most organized work so that if we have any mistakes, they're going to be easy to find. I trust that you're going to go back and check your work, even if you're all done, just to make sure that you did your work as accurately as possible. So today we're going to go over problem number 7 in your packet. Problem asks us, Juliet wants to know if the chicken broth in this beaker will fit into this rectangular food storage container. Explain how you would figure it out without pouring the contents in. If it will fit, how much more broth could the storage container hold? If it will not fit, how much broth will be left over? Remember, 1 centimeters cubed equals 1 milliliter. So if we're looking at our beaker full of chicken broth, we can see that there's 2.1 liters of chicken broth inside of the beaker. Now, it is our job to figure out or to convert liters into milliliters, right? Because the information that we have here is a conversion from centimeters cubed to milliliters. So we must convert our liters into milliliters. So if we look at the work down below, it reminds you should solve using tables and number sentences. And to remember, 1 centimeters cubed equals 1 milliliters cubed. I began with the table. I labeled it with liters, work, and milliliters. Now we know that liters, that 1 liter, equals 1,000 milliliters. I have my work here to represent that. So now I'm going to plug in my numbers. I have 2.1 liters, and I'm going to multiply by 1,000, and that's going to give me 2,100 milliliters. So now I know that I have 2,100 milliliters of chicken broth inside of the beaker. So now that I've done that, my next step is going to figure out how much of the chicken broth can fit inside of the storage container. Now, if we remember, the space inside of a rectangular prism is called our volume. So we're going to figure out our volume for the storage container. And we know that when we're finding our volume, we're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply 20 centimeters multiplied by 7 centimeters multiplied by 15 centimeters. You can see that I have my number sentence here below. I made sure to show my work. 20 times 15 is going to get me 300. 300 times 7 is going to get me 2,100 centimeters cubed. That is the volume inside of the storage container. Now that I've figured out how much of the chicken broth is inside of the beaker and how much space is inside of the storage container, what do we notice here? Take a second to think to yourself. Right. We came up with the exact same numbers, but with different units. 2,100 milliliters of chicken broth, and then 2,100 centimeters cubed for our volume inside of the storage container. Now remember, 1 centimeters cubed equals 1 milliliter. So I'm going to plug that in. And I have my volume for my storage container here, and I have the milliliters of chicken broth inside of the beaker. So that's going to conclude our answer to our question. The question ultimately asks, if it will fit, how much more broth could the storage container hold? The storage container couldn't hold any more broth. The storage container will hold the exact amount of chicken broth inside of the beaker. That's going to conclude our math for today. Again, make sure that if you haven't gotten the correct answer, you go back, check your work, and track the mistakes that you have made. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, Ms. Gibson, or Ms. Harvey. Thanks, everyone.